What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So, Katarina, this is, I don't know why I said it like that. Anyways, Katarina, this is the League of Legends champion from Noxus I am going to be covering today. So I'm going through the theme of Noxus champions since this is the region I'm covering at the moment. We covered Draven last week and Cassiopeia, I think the week before. We found out that Cassiopeia is the sister of Katarina, something I didn't know before that point. So, what am I going to do today? I'm going to go through her bio, I'm going to go through and review her skins, I'm going to go through her story. Now, I've noticed she has two. This one here, which is the one she recommended me to read, Message on a Blade's Edge. But I'm actually going to go for this one, the name of the blade. Since it's got Talon in it, I like Talon. I think he might have been the first champion I played in League a while back. So for that reason alone, I am going to read that as the story. I'm going to go through some special interactions that she may have and also her spotlight as well. She doesn't seem to have a champion theme, which is a bit of a shame, but there we are. So, yeah, without further ado, let's kick things off with the bio. In fact, before the bio, what's this here? Never question my loyalty, you will know what I endure. You will never know what I endure for it. Okay, so let's read the bio. The Sinister Blade. And we can appreciate her base skin there as well. Nice. Nice. Okay. So, born to one of the most respected noble families of Noxus, the Katarina de Cotu found herself elevated above others from an early age. While her younger sister, here we go, Cassiopeia, took after their politically brilliant mother, Katarina was much more her father's daughter, and the wily General de Cotu pushed her to learn the way of the blade, to cut away the Empire's enemies, not with reckless brutality, but deadly precision, because they were assassins, weren't they? He was a harsh teacher with many pupils and notoriously difficult to impress. So it was that Katarina's childhood, if it can be called such, had little room for kindness or rest. She spent every waking moment honing herself into the ultimate weapon, testing her endurance, her dexterity, her tolerance for pain. She stole poisons from the city's least reputable, whatever that is, apothecarists, testing their efficiency in tiny increments upon herself. Don't do that. Gradually building up resistance, even as she catalogued their effects. She scaled the tallest towers in the dead of night, unseen by anyone. So this is pretty interesting that she tests the poisons on herself to see the side effects and see how much she can endure. Kind of ironic, because these poisons tie in nicely with what her sister becomes, which is Cassiopeia, i.e. Medusa, and all her abilities revolve around poisons as well. She yearned to do her part for Noxus. She yearned for the opportunity to demonstrate her hidden strength in service of the Empire and the throne. Her first mark came, in fact, I've not even zoomed in ever. Let me zoom in so people can read this. Here we go. Sorry about that. Her first mark came straight from her father. Camped with his warbands on the eve of one of the military's innumerable western invasions, she was to assassinate a line officer on the opposing army, a lone-born wretch by the name of Demetrius, I think. Katarina was livid. She hadn't trained her life to have her talents wasted on some dunghill barely skilled enough to swing a sword. He simply wouldn't do. Instead of her assigned target, okay, you go girl, Katarina stole into the enemy camp and slit the enemy commander's throat as he slept. It was the flawless execution. It would bring a swift victory and glory to Noxus. It would make her father proud. Why have I got a feeling that he's not going to be proud and he's going to be too happy with what's gone on here? Let's find out. At dawn, his face daubed with ashes, the vengeful hero Demetrius led a berserk charge into her father's encampment. Dozens of Noxian soldiers were slaughtered along with the general's personal, whatever that is, Israel, retinue. Katarina's father himself barely escaped with his life. Okay, what did I say? He was furious beyond words, refusing even to look at his daughter in the eye. She had shamed him and their family name. The greatest assassins do not seek recognition or glory, he reminded her. They do not expect to occupy a place of honour at their master's right hand. Overwhelmed, Katarina struck out into the wilderness alone. She would complete her original mission. Okay, original mission. Demetrius would pay with his life. Even so, her mind swam. Could she ever forgive herself? How had she been so foolish? She was so distracted she didn't see her attacker until he had already taken her eye out, hence the scar. For Katarina's failure, General Decotu had sent another of his prodigies after her. Oh, hold on. Read that right. She was so distracted she didn't see her attacker until he had taken her eye out. For Katarina's failure, General Decotu had sent another of his prodigies after her, a nameless whelp dragged up from one of the lesser assassins' guilds. But even with blood streaming down her face, the years of rigorous training kicked in, and her blades were in her hand in an instant. 6 hours later, she tossed Demetrius' severed head at her father's feet. Right. She told the general she had considered taking his head instead, but eventually decided, as much as she hated to admit it, that he had done the right thing in ordering her death. She had failed, not just as an assassin or as a daughter, but as a Noxian. So they actually went to kill her. Right. There we go. So for her failure, is that her own dad? For her failure, her own dad had sent another of his prodigies after her to kill her. Really? Okay. And failure must have its consequences. She ran her fingers along the deep gash over her left eye and thought of the price others had paid for her arrogance. She knew she had lost her father's favour and she could never regain it. He would raise others in her place simply to spite her. Still, she vowed to redeem herself no matter the cost, to rededicate her talents to the Empire and to become the sinister weapon she had always intended to be. So there we go. No love lost there. Her father isn't exactly the typical loving father. By the sounds of it there, it sounds like he actually sent someone to kill her as well. And even after she did what she needed to do, she isn't still in her father's good books. And you can clearly see here the scar across her left eye there, which adds character, if you ask me. It adds character to her, and it makes her look so much more sexy, if I am being honest with you as well. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to her skins. Let's go. Okay, so this is Katarina. This is her base skin. Decisive in judgment and lethal in combat, Katarina is a Noxian assassin of the highest caliber. Elder daughter to the legendary Count Decotu, she made her talents known with swift kills against unsuspecting enemies. Maybe not the right ones. Her fiery ambition has driven her to pursue heavily guarded targets, even at the risk of endangering her allies. But no matter the mission, Katarina will not hesitate to execute her duty amid a whirlwind of serrated daggers. And this is her base skin there. I like that. Like I said before, it just looks like what's going on in the background. Maybe that's just how fast she's going. Everything in the background is a blur. Okay, so this next one here is Mercury Katarina. Okay, cool. No lore to that one, but okay, I like that one as well. That's cool. Okay. Next one is High Command. That just looks like something out of Warhammer. High Command Katarina, obviously no love with that one as well. Let's have a look at this one. Sandstorm, no love with this one as well. That's a nice take with the serrated blades there as well. Clearly from Shurima. Then we have Warring Kingdoms. Okay, in open defiance of her clan, Katarina has left behind the life of a princess to hunt the greatest heroes of the Warring Kingdoms. Striking under shadow of night, she's slowly cutting her way through her foes, one general at a time. Okay, I like that, and I like that she's a princess, but obviously that didn't stop her from doing the murdering as well. So okay, cool. Warring Kingdoms, that's nice. And then we have, I've seen this one before when I did the review on Project Katarina as well. The Project skin line is just, it's just something else. It's just something else. This is another example of that. Once an ambitious lieutenant in the Genetic Rebellion, Katarina returned to the command line after a confrontation with Ash herself. Her hyper-edged daggers now serve Project once more, but those rebels who knew her still hold out hope that she fights for them from the inside. Double agent. Okay, that's that one. So then Battle Academia. Battle Academia. There was one for Darius last week or the week before, which was really good. No, Darius. Was it Darius? Yeah, it was Darius. Yeah, it was really good. Katarina is a rough-edged loner who stays far away from the politics of Randall Academy. A second year student with a chip on her shoulder, she is also a top member of the Assassins Club, like you do. The only club on the campus allowed to kill opponents in school sanctioned duels. Nice. Few other students even dare approach her. Okay, I like that one. And then we have, Blood Moon. Blood Moon's in a home. Projects up there. Blood Moon is so good as well. Wow, look at this one. An honoured priestess of the Blood Moon cult, merged with the flesh of her demon, all the priestesses are fated to be. Yet the descendant of the Blood Moon has changed the nature of demons and humankind, and Katarina has begun her ascent into a newer, darker form. Yeah, so this is Katarina at the front. Who's this on the left? Who is that? Is that Yone or Yasuo or maybe someone else? Either way. Yeah, it's good. So we have Battle Queen Katarina. Okay, so Katarina won the Skemian crest with a ruthless performance in her queendom's battle pits, like you do. From Skenema to break free of its humble alliances and become the region's rightful leader. It will take a similar commanding performance in the coronation, and Katarina has never been more prepared to cement her fearsome status as the rightful queen of queens. So it's like, this is Battle Academia, this is when she was younger, this is obviously when she gets promoted, she gets older. Yeah, okay, she's got some really good skins. Is that all of them? No, it's not. Oh, come on, red card. Is that a regulation uniform? No. Should a referee be holding a large dagger in the middle of a sports game? No. Are you going to argue with a woman in a non-regulation uniform holding a large dagger in the middle of a sports game? Great question. I think we both know the answer to that. Love it. Because there's a theme, and as Americans call it soccer, but it's rightfully called football. Yeah, there's a football theme in there with a couple of other, there's Alistair and there's Lucian and there's Twist of Fate, I think, in there as well. And Katarina is the referee. Nice. Okay, so we've got Bilgewater. So, to outsiders, the politics of Bilgewater seem a means mess of villainous scum and dishonourable thieves. Well, I can see why they'd think that. But woven through our complex loyalties, solemn codes of honour, and a very specific, if bloody way of doing things, cutting through all of it is Katarina, a master of the blade. She silences the right tongues at all the right moments for the right price. And that's the thing, a little bit like Pike, for the right price. That's what's going to happen. So, okay, about the kinky one here, we have Kitty Cat Katarina. Okay, there are times when Katarina deeply questions the parameters of her assassination missions and attire. This is somehow not one of those times. Yeah, can you imagine getting assassinated by that? Okay. Next one is Snaideri, okay, which is Tiny Whip Draven. Last week was the basically Bad Santa as well, wasn't it? Donning a mismatch of snowed-down fashions to throw targets off her scent, Katarina uses a holiday as a cover for high-profile assassinations. What a great time to kill people. If you hear the sound of jingle bells, run. Okay, and then this one here, wow, what? This is wow. Death Sworn Katarina. I love that one. To fully swear oneself to death's service, a mortal must be prepared to sacrifice the living. A skilled assassin in life, Katarina pledged her sinister blades willingly and was granted special abilities allowing her to pass in and out of the underworld with ease. Nice, a little bit like Spawn, in a way. Sold his soul to the devil, didn't it, for other abilities and revenge. Kind of a similar thing there. And I guess in the League of Legends lore, it's kind of a similar thing to what goes on in the Shadow Isles. And that nicely ties in with the theme, the colour theme of the Shadow Isles, and she's got a very similar colour theme there as well. And a great shot of her as well, if you know what I mean. That looks great. That looks so good. So, I think that is it. Yes, that is it. Quite a lot of skins there for Katarina. So if I had to pick my favourite one, this is going to be tough. My favourite one would have to be... Oh, there's so many. Guys, there's so many. This is tough. I'm going to have to say... I can't get over that red card. But I'm going to have to say my favourite one is Blood Moon. This Blood Moon takes it. This is number one. Yeah, number one. by a shade. By a shade over this one. Deathsworn. These two were as close as it gets to a number 1. I mean, just look at that. Just look at that. So 1A and 1B, basically, for them two. And in third place would have to be, I'm going to say, Battle Queen. The rest of them are so good. Battle Academia, Warring Kingdoms, Project, obviously. But Battle Queen for me would be number 3. Everything about it just works. Yeah. That'll be number 3. Okay, so that's my rankings of the skins. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to... what should I do next? Let's go with the special interactions, and then I'll move back onto the story. Let's go.
Garen, let's see if you're strong enough to handle a queen.
And Garen's response is...
Your Majesty, this coronation, I'll whet my blade on you.
I'll whet my blade on you.
If you can see the future, Diana, you'll flee right now. Come all the way down from Ri to play with us, Janna? Think you can keep up?
Remember, she wants to be the Queen of Queens.
You've waited so long for this, Kiana. Shame it'll be over so quickly. You'd be good in Schema's battle pits, Rel, as a warm-up. My blade caught you off guard, Diana? Janna, weak crest, weak queen. Your plots are weak, Kiana, and so are you. Gonna use my crest against me, Rel? What a shame, Garen. A queen requires a more worthy consort. Not today, Caitlin. Not today. Poor Diana. Your visions were as weak as your rule. Jack, too flighty to be a strong ruler. Might have been tough as metal, Rel, but metal cracks. Not much of a coronation for you. There's blood all over my dress now. A true queen can subdue any foe with grace. I'll take those curtsies now. Thank you. Diplomacy is overrated. Stabbing's easier.
I'm gonna say when you can kill someone.
You were in my queendom's way. Pity you weren't better. My queendom reigns triumphant. Let the blood flow. The queen is not amused. You wouldn't dare repeat that with my knife at your throat. Fresh addition to the royal arsenal. I do so love an accolade, especially a sharp one. Let's see what this one can do. Every triumph brings a new blade. The weapon is the setting. I am the jewel. Another. For me, I'm honored. Another blade. It's good to be the queen. A tithe of steel. I like it. Any weapon cuts just as deep in my hands. A full set, my crown jewels. The final weapon. Gotcha. The coronation's not finished, and neither am I.
I was waiting for that respawn.
Tenacity.
Oh, come on. That's
it doesn't
good.
matter who strikes the first blow, just the last. They fear the power of my crest and the majesty of my blades. Let the coronation bloodbath begin.
As you do.
I fight alongside my fellow queens, so long as they honor me. You face me in the coronation. I will disgrace you. There's glory in bloodshed, but there's also purpose. A feared queen reigns longest. I don't care if they're bowing or bleeding, so long as I win. A victory is sweetest when it leads to another. After this, all will fear my power. For years, these queendoms have squabbled. Uneasy alliances, unstable power. I can use that. Ruling is 1 part grace, 2 parts threat. Or is it the other way around? A queen's versatility and an assassin's ruthlessness. The coronation never planned on me. These other queens, I wish them luck. Why shouldn't I? There's no one like me. I always plan 3 steps ahead of other rulers, but it's still gracious to feign surprise. The Queen's alliance is feeble. To lead it requires strength. A bit of new blood.
So I take it she's the leader and shit.
I am the Queen of Assassins. I won my throne by murder. Yeah. I'd like to see these others try and take it.
Okay. Okay, that was nice. That was nice. Her interactions, clearly her special interactions with other Battle Queen skins and champions as well. Plus the odd interaction with Garen, which obviously makes sense as well. Yeah, I think she's basically the queen of the queens, isn't she? Or at least that's what she thinks she is, and that's what she wants to be as well. So that was nice. That was nice to go through her interactions, since she was that skin was one of my top 3 skins for Katarina. So let's move on now to the story. Let's go. Okay, the name of the blade. Right, hold up. So this is the assassin from the guild that her father said to kill her, hence why she's holding her face, because he slashed her eye. Right, oh, hold up. So Talon was the guy who actually scarred her. Wow, okay. I guess we'll find out in a minute. There is copper in the air, which is probably blood. Yeah, the tang of fresh blood rises up to me, my back pressed into the shadows while I study her as she kills. She was driven here. A large chamber decoratively appointed 2 exits, but through wide halls and high arched ceilings, it was easy enough for me to follow her and do it in silence. Her pursuers did not. A charging crash of weapons and armour brought to bear against her. To the uninitiated she appeared trapped, and a cornered assassin is a dead one, but I know well that her blades are but one of her weapons, and far from her keenest. I recognise the hidden patterns of her strikes, though translating seamlessly into action, the subtle movements masked by grander gestures as she adapts to exploit every weakness presented to her. I know the teachings that inform her in her violence because they were taught to me as well. Here we go. Wisdom passed down to only a handful, forging a family of purpose, if not of blood. He was trained in the same ways and the same arts as her, and I like how this is going. It's from his point of view. He's obviously watching her, he's studying her before I assume he makes his move. It is her birthright, while for me it was earned in darkened alleyways and the frothing chokes of slit throats. I see her follow the principles of our teachings, and then I see her break them. Her target appears, and she allows them to see her before the strike comes. There is flourishing to the killing, noise, arrogance, wasted energy. So all these are all the points he's trying to critique in her, saying that she's doing wrong. Each choice exposes her more, cracking her armour wider, betraying her lineage. My upper lip constricts, desperate to twitch, but I am stone, so coming to such weakness would only carry me further from the edge. So he kind of like plays it to the book, doesn't he? While she's obviously a little bit different. She clearly wants recognition. The reason she killed that general in the first place is because she wants recognition that she's never got from her father. Her father never showed her any love and care and acceptance and approval. So she's always searching for it, and that's the reason why she did what she did, and clearly that made it even worse. I presume Talon doesn't need that. He doesn't need that because that's not even an option for him. I have seen such ambition before. As a child in the world beneath the Empire, I watched the ambitious rise head and shoulders above their fellows, just high enough for them to see them standing out from the masses, and then I watched the masses butcher them for it. I learned the Sanctuary Shadow quickly, the shield that silence can be, and never forgetting that has kept me alive. I watched her defy them both, blundering to the precipice of failure, and it would not be the first time. I remember the cold of the forest, the glinting frost on the branch where I perched, watching waiting for her to appear. So he's watching her again, right? When she did, she was weathered in the ashen smell of the battle cooling just beyond our view. It clung to her as surely as her failure. There is always a price for failure. That day, for her, I had been made that price. I planned it all perfectly. I wouldn't allow myself anything less. The slope of the ground, the strength and direction of the wind whistling through the trees, her bearing, her garb, her weapons, her gait, the small clean blade held in fingers etched with 1,000 tiny scars of imperfection. It all passed through my mind before I was free to unfold, to strike. There was no sound when I descended. My blade-clucked air was interrupted ere again. Blood trailed behind its path, a sluggish bloom of darkness, darkest red uncurled into icy air. Yeah, that's quite descriptive way of putting it, and you can kind of see that as well. A sluggish bloom of darkest red uncurled into icy air. My moment carried me past her as I planned. I looked back, my mind calm. What trophy could be proof enough? Her blades, a lock of her hair, her eyes. I turned and saw her standing. She clutched her left eye, blood squirted between fingers, but she didn't fall. My stomach tightened. A bead of sweat trickled down my ribs. Despite the cold, she was supposed to fall after the strike. The one strike. She could not be alive. I told her so. The words did not fell her, so I said them again. I screamed them at her. She answered with the edge of her blades. We fought, or rather, she fought. She was a blur of red hair and flashing silver, her cuts and slashes propelled by pain, skill and rage in equal measure. Anger twisted her features, keeping the wound I gave her from closing. I flowed around her, cold and colourless against her passion. 3 times she came close to opening me to the bone, to empty my lifeblood upon the frost earth of the forest floor, but emotion betrayed the blows early enough for me to displace myself. The instinct was there, but she did not plan the engagement, and so I kept my blood within me. That's one way of putting it. I kept my blood within me. I glimpsed an opening once where I could have ended her. She would have fallen, for true this time. Nobody would have known of my mistake. Nobody but me. I saw the opening, but I let it pass me by. After my failed strike, I would not try a second, and should I have fallen to her, it was deserved. I was now no different than she was. Okay, because in essence she failed because she killed the wrong person. This is the kind of the actual code and the honour that he has, Talon. He said he failed because he hasn't assassinated her. He hasn't assassinated her. His plan was to kill in the first blow, and he hasn't done that. She watched me as I put my blade away, and she stopped. She touched her face again, tracing a wound that would never leave her. Beneath breath feathered out from the cold, angry slashes from her nose as she spoke. Her own failure that brought me here loomed over her, and she was resolved to set it right, to atone for it. I could not bring myself to stand in her way, not anymore. The hypocrisy would be too great. My duty was to return and face judgment, and see what price I had to pay. Before turning back towards the battlefield, leaving the way she came, she asked me who I was. She did not ask if her father sent me. That much was clear to her, all but the name of the blade he sent. I did not have an answer for her. My name had never mattered. I told her so, but saw she would not relent. I thought back, remembering the world under the Empire then. Down there in those final blood-soaked days before I left it all behind, they called me Talon. Right, okay. Great name as well. Blood spread out across the stones from her target, now her kill. I watched her make quick work of the soldiers who remained to challenge her. I imagine myself in the place of the last of them, seeing the opening he does not, before his head rolls from his shoulders and he joins the dead. So he's watching her now. I wonder why. Is he watching her now to see if she's improved, watching her now out of guilt, or watching her now to try and kill her? For a handful of seconds she admires her work. She's smiling, the pale scar bisecting her left eye flexing. The smile goes cold. Does she sense me? Before she disappears down the corridor like smoke. I wait a moment, too, and then I allow myself to breathe again. Muscles clamped tight for hours loosen a fraction. Only now with her gone do I produce the knife. My fingers are pebbled with 1,000 scars, each a single tiny step on my path towards the edge. That unattainable perfect state of I strive for. I spin the knife in a quick practice orbit, then again and again. The blade is clean. The blood that once graced it on that day long since crumbled away, waiting for the day I might be made. Waiting for the day I might be made the price for her failure again. I call it Katarina. Right, okay. The blade is clean. The blood that once graced it on that day long since crumbled away, waiting for the day I might be made the price for her failure again. I call it Katarina. Okay. So I might be made the price. So in essence, is that saying that she's still hunted in a way? Not technically like she's got a bounty in the head, but he's watching her. Is that right? Waiting for the day that I might be made the price for her failure again. I might be made the price for her failure again. So, okay, I think that's what it means. I think. But I like that though. I like the honour that Talon has, that he's watched her, he wants to kill her, he doesn't. I like that he respects her. He respects her abilities and her skills prior to obviously failing, and in a way even more so now, the fact that he's actually unsure if she maybe even senses him. Yeah, and like he says, I call it Katarina. Nice. Okay, that was a really good story to read through as well on Katarina. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to finish off with her spotlight. It's actually her reduced spotlight. She's got one that's 9 years old, but I think she's got an updated version, which is about 3 or 4 years old. So I'm going to watch that. So, let's go. T for teen.
Katarina still knows how to spin to win, but she's added more daggers to her Shunpo shenanigans.
Wait.
The Sinister Blade has always been a feast or famine champion. When she goes in, she either gets a pentakill or fails and gets blown up. Her update is all about giving her more ways to stay mobile so she can impact fights without risking everything.
Nice.
Let's jump into the changes. Katarina's Q, Bouncing Blade, now leaves a dagger on the ground near her first target. Picking up daggers deals damage in a small area. Now let's add in Katarina's new W, Preparation. When cast, Katarina gains a burst of movement speed and throws a dagger into the air. A couple moments later, the dagger lands in the spot where she originally cast it.
Okay.
Things start to get interesting when combined with Shunpo. Shunpo can now be cast in an area around your target, allowing Kat to decide where she wants to appear at the end of her jump. In addition to allies and enemies, she can now Shunpo to daggers. Doing so refunds a significant portion of Shunpo's cooldown, opening a quick entrance or exit from any fight. Katarina isn't as bursty as other champions in the preseason's class update. She's best at finishing fights, not starting them. CC still shuts her down hard. Just because the bad guys are grouped up doesn't mean you have to go in. With her update, Katarina's got more ways to contribute to a skirmish without putting her life on the line. Poke with bouncing blades and fake out your enemies with Shunpo to bait out key cooldowns and set up a successful fight. Here, Katarina's patience and positioning pay off to get the reset.
Wow.
To learn more about the preseason Assassin update, check out the full list of changes. We'll be back tomorrow with a closer look at the talent update.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of some pretty good Katarinas as well. And like I said right at the beginning, it's so true. It is, what did I say, famine or feast? The amount of Katarinas that get pentakills. Every pentakill I've seen, whether it's a team member or someone playing against, 8 out of 10 are Katarinas. 8 out of 10 are Cats. So before I leave you here today, let me quickly look at her ultimate on the official League of Legends page. Let's go. Right, okay, so these are her abilities. This is her passive as well. Whenever an enemy champion dies that Katarina has damaged recently, her remaining ability cooldowns are dramatically reduced. Wow. If Katarina picks up a dagger, she uses it to slash through all nearby enemies, dealing magic damage. And then this one wasn't really explained. Death Lotus, but this is one this is one poor Garen there and Ezreal. This is one that, yeah, I've died by many times. Katarina becomes a flurry of blades, dealing massive magic damage, and I'll say that again, dealing massive magic damage while she channels to the 3 nearest enemy champions. Yeah, she either flashes or does this, whatever this move here is, Shunpo, does that to the person, and then it's an R, and then that's kind of the pentakill. At least that's what I've experienced anyway. But anyway, yeah, I think I'll leave it here today, guys, in this one. Hopefully you enjoyed my thoughts and reactions to everything relating to Katarina. And if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and maybe also subscribe if you haven't done so already. I am continuing this theme of Noxus champions. I'm not quite sure who's next on the list, but it will be another Noxus champion next Thursday. So tune in next Thursday if you want to find out who that is and you enjoy my videos on this as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.